Okay. Uh, it's
Go
so
ahead.
great to see so many of you here this morning that want to know more about hypnotherapy. It is a really, really fun uh, thing to do because it takes you from where you are and moves you forward so that you don't have to spend a whole lot of time going back over your life. Gee, what happened when you were 12? What happened when you were 5? All of that. If you're having a problem, it can take you from that problem and move you forward, which I really love with my clients because a lot of people don't want to spend hours and weeks and months and years going back over their past. For some people, that's great. And, if you want to go to a traditional hypnotherapist, that's absolutely fine. But when you're in the kind of business that you all are in and you are trying to make change in your life, right? You want to have things go quickly. So that's something that I can help people with. I had always wanted to be a therapist, but as you may know, sometimes life does get in the way. And I ended up getting married, having 3 kids, becoming a legal secretary, and that was all great. But when my youngest child was a senior in high school, I went, aha, it's my turn. I get to go back to school and do what I want to do. So that's what I did. I did a 2-year paraprofessional counseling program which taught me all about counseling, all about how to listen, which is one of the most important skills I think I have, and what I can do to help people. But it didn't give me a degree to go out in the world and make an income. So instead of starting at 55 in the becoming a psychologist plan, I decided to become a hypnotherapist. And I went to school for a year. It's a pretty involved program, 720 classroom hours, and a lot of continuing education and other areas that I've gotten certified in. But I was then able to start my own practice, which has been so rewarding. I mean, in the beginning, I would forget to ask people for payment because I was so excited to be doing what I wanted to do and helping people and seeing them change from one session to the second session after they've implemented the things that we've talked about. And that was so rewarding in and of itself. But then I realized I should charge money because I did have to pay rent. So I did get over that hurdle. But it's been so rewarding for me, and I've really enjoyed every minute. Christy asked me to come up with an example of someone that I've helped in the professional world, and I have a great story for you, and then I'll let Christy ask me some questions. But I just love this story. About 5 years ago, a client came to see me, and she was on stress medical leave from her job at a major pharmaceutical company out here in Thousand Oaks, which, if you know the company, it can be very stressful. So she really wanted to get over this medical issue that was, holding her back, which she felt was related to stress. So we worked on that, and she was able to go back to work after a few weeks. So once she got back to work, she realized she hated her boss, and she really didn't want to be working in that position because that was what got her the stress leave to begin with. So she found a different job she wanted within the company, and we worked together to help her get that job. So that was all fine. I didn't see her for a year or two. And then she called me again and said, there's this great opportunity that's come up in my company. I want you to help me get that job. So we worked together, and she got that job using affirmations and positive thinking and some of the medical physical laws that Nita referred to, the law of attraction. And so she got that job. Then because of the pandemic, she ended up moving back to Michigan and working remotely at this job that she loved. and she decided she wanted to buy the condo she was renting. So she calls me up and she says, I need your help getting the landlord to sell me the condo because he said he did not want to sell when I started renting the condo. And I'm like, that's really not what I do, helping people buy condos. But, I went along with it, and we came up with a set of affirmations, including I own my home at blank address, and my landlord is willing to sell me my property. And guess what? She got the property. So, it's really amazing what I can help people do. So anyway, that's my little story of the day, but I thought that was a pretty amazing situation. And she called me last night and said, I need another session. Are you available? So I don't know what she's going to come up with today.
So, Cinda, share with us a little bit about like the process of hypnotherapy, like, the state of mind, what would get people to, kind of allow that hypnosis to happen.
Okay. Well, the first thing is that people need to want to change. So if there's something in your life that you think is not going how you want it to go, that's holding you back, that's if only this were different, my life would be so much better. If you hear yourself saying things like that, if only I could sleep better, I would be able to perform better at work. That would be something that I could help with, insomnia. If you're stressed at work and find that it's affecting your performance, that's something I can help with. If none of your colleagues smoke, but you're finding you have to go out for a smoke break every day, that's something I can help with. It's really a huge variety of issues, but if you can identify one area that's really something that if that were different, it would make a change in your life.
So you mentioned that people have to want to change. Well, most of us say we want to change, but then the question is, do we really want to change? How do you help people like really get clear about wanting to change? Because that's, we know stories over and over again about, people who say they want to change, but there's not really that action forward.
Well, that's where my listening skills come in and my ability to find the right question to ask come in. If you really do not want to change and you really cannot identify what it is that might be helpful, then you probably won't come see me, which is okay. I don't want to help the whole world. I want to help people who want to change.
Okay, so it's wanting to change as a mindset. And then so now you're doing it over Zoom. You were doing it in person, but
now I'm also seeing clients in my living room.
Okay.
But yeah, it definitely does work over Zoom. It's really amazing. It's just like being, one-on-one in a room. And in fact, it feels closer to me because our faces are closer.
Okay. Well, you and I did it via Zoom. And I thought the one thing I would say is if I was in a more relaxed position rather than in my office chair.
Right. Well, a lot of times clients do it in their bedroom so they can lie on their bed, or if you have a couch in your office, that works too.
Okay. And tell me about your process. So let's talk about your process. How do you prepare for this session, and how do you get people to prepare for the session? And then
well, what I really do is I ask people to come with an open mind. And I the preparation that I've done really is all the classes that I've taken and all the different modalities that I know. I have a huge toolkit. I'm trained in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. I'm trained in emotional freedom technique or the tapping. I'm trained in therapeutic imagery. I have lots of different techniques that I've picked up over the years. And I really kind of let the client guide the session to see what it is they need. So,
So
my
you sent out a questionnaire to me, and I thought it was really interesting because you asked me specifically what I wanted to focus on. And that was actually a lot more difficult than I had thought.
Yes, yes. And the other reason I sent you that questionnaire is because I wanted you to write it so that if I would like, I can analyze your handwriting. That's another thing I've been trained in.
Okay.
This might be a good time for us to go through the theory of mind, and that is what explains how hypnosis works, so that when I'm talking for the rest of the session, we can refer back to that.
Great.
So if I could share my screen.
Yes.
Okay, that's not what I want. Okay, here we go. So we call the theory of mind is how we think that hypnosis works. And when you're born, your mind is completely empty, except for fight and flight responses. Then as you have experiences, they all come straight into your brain and you develop known associations. Some are positive, some are negative. An easy example is a dog. If you had a dog or pets growing up, dogs are going to be over here. If you were bitten as a young child, dogs are going to be over here. So it's really very simple. Things that are positive are over here. Things that aren't so positive are over here. Then at age 8, we develop what we call the critical mind. And that divides our brain into two parts, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. This is the important part of this chart. 10 to 12% of your mind is your conscious mind. So all day long, we deal with, up here in our conscious mind, with our reasonability, our willpower, our ability to analyze, logic, decision-making. But as you've probably learned, that if you decide you're going to do something based on reason and willpower, it doesn't always come to be. Great example is losing weight. So you wake up in the morning and you're going to eat healthy all day. And that's willpower. And you have analyzed that you do need to lose weight. So that's all good, right? But that's 10 to 12% of your brain. Right here, you have croissants that are just so delicious. So, and that's 88 to 90%. So at breakfast or your morning snack, which one do you think is going to come out on top? 9 times out of 10, 90% of the time, it's going to be the croissant. So what hypnotherapy can do, that's what I was just talking about. Everything that happens during the day comes into your brain. And then at night, the critical mind goes away and everything comes down into your subconscious mind, and we clean it out every night by dreaming. So that's why sleep is so, so important, because if you don't sleep well, and good luck, Nita, with your twins, but you're going to be a little crazy for the first few months because your mind won't get the rest that it needs, and your mind's going to be overloaded in the morning. And then that will make the day more difficult. So 7 to 8 hours is crucial to really clean out your mind by dreaming. And so you can start every day with a fresh slate. Now, what is hypnosis? Hypnosis is another way of bypassing the critical mind, coming down into your subconscious mind. And for example, taking those croissants and putting them over here in the negative side, that croissants really aren't something that you want to have. And taking eating healthy and putting that over on the positive side. So that's kind of how hypnosis works. You may have noticed that I put affirmations right here. I suggest that my clients read and write their affirmations right before they fall asleep at night so that they go boom, right down here into their subconscious mind. Affirmations are my secret tool for helping people change what they want to change in their lives. How do I unshare? No.
Oh, you just stopped sharing.
Stop sharing. Okay, great.
There you go.
So how I work with my clients is by giving them a set of affirmations, not made up by me, made up by them with my help, so that those affirmations, whatever they are, usually 3 to 7, they address what it is they want to change. For example, if they're not sleeping, I get a good night's sleep every night. If they're trying to manage their weight and let go of the croissants, we don't say, I don't like croissants. We say, I love eating healthy. So that they're always positive, usually starting with an I statement, so that they can encourage people to make positive changes. I've actually written a book on the subject, The Power of Affirmations, and it talks about how they work and how to make them in the beginning of the book. And then it's a journal with a place to write your affirmations and a place to write what you're grateful for. Because we have found that people who are grateful are much happier. And when you're focusing on what you're grateful for, it's harder to focus on what's going wrong in your lives.
That's really interesting, Cinda. When you and I worked together, you had me think about what I'm grateful for, but you also helped me with the specific affirmations that I feel like I mean, it made so much sense, but I mean, I love affirmations, but affirmations that are generic, that weren't specifically focused on what I was trying to improve, it wasn't helping me. And so I love that you helped me with that specific affirmation that tapped into, you know, when I was successful doing it. And that's what really compelled me. And even now when I'm, you know, struggling with whatever I was struggling with, I think about that affirmation and suddenly things don't stress me out. It's like I'm focused, I feel positive, and I feel like I'm moving forward. So it was really interesting, the process that we went through. And so let's play a little bit. When we think about job search, because job search can be demoralizing, right? It can be one of the hardest things that we go through because number one, there's no clear recipe for it.
Right.
And, you know, we're faced with discouraging signals frequently. What's something that, you know, people that would help people?
Well, you just touched on another subject that I do want to talk about, which is stress. But before we get to that, if I were looking for a job, I would come up with a set of affirmations that specifically relate to job searching and job getting. So something like, I will get the correct job for me. I will get the perfect job for me. So if you get rejected, you can look at it as though that wasn't the perfect job for me and move forward. Or I know that I am a great executive. I know that I am a great whatever it is that you are, specifically looking for. And as you're walking into an interview or coming out of an interview, if you have that mindset, that's going to come across, as opposed to, well, I kind of want this job, but I'm not really sure I qualify. No, I love this job. This is the job I want. And that's what I did with my client who wanted to change her job. She visualized herself having that job specifically. And the more specificity there is in an affirmation, the better it works. So actually, instead of I get a good night's sleep every night, a better one would be I get a good night's sleep of 7 to 8 hours every night, so that you're focused on exactly what it is that you want. The other thing that I give to my clients is an affirmation. Did we do that, Christy, in the time we had?
Yes.
Okay. Well, an anchor is a way of coming back to the relaxed, calm, positive feeling that you feel in hypnosis anytime you want, by holding your thumb and forefinger together, closing your eyes. Don't do it while you're driving, but any other time. Close your eyes, breathe in as you say a word that reminds you of a positive experience when you felt really good about yourself. And then the second word is the feeling that you feel. So an example, a lot of people pick the beach. And I suggest they go to their favorite spot at their favorite beach and just really get in touch with it with all of their senses, and then breathe out as they say the feeling that they feel: confident, calm, happy, whatever that feeling is. And you can do this little exercise before you walk into an interview. Not, in front of the guy that's interviewing you, but in your car as you're sitting in the lobby waiting to be called in, so that you get yourself in a really positive, relaxed, confident state.
So you're talking about this relaxed, confident state, and so many times when I talk to people or in boot camp, it's like, here's what I don't want. Can you talk about that? And it's like that languaging that we use.
Yes, well, that's one of my big pet peeves. Language is really, really important. And the minute that you start using don't, you're going down the wrong path. This is your brain. And this is the pathway where you say to yourself over and over and over again, I don't want to fail. Okay? We all have plenty of that pathway in our brain. What we want instead is, I am successful. I will get this job. I am calm. And every time that we say those words, we are reinforcing that line as opposed to this line. We don't have to worry about reinforcing that line anymore. It's already real good for us, right? But what we can do is every negative thought so far has an opposite positive thought. So if you can work on every day catching yourself when you say those negative thoughts, I'll never get a job. No, I will get the perfect job for me, is a much better thing to say. Because what's going to happen? What you tell yourself is what happens in the world. It's all
So,
about the metaphysical laws.
and
And
it's the self-talk, right?
oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's about reframing. And so
Mhm.
when we think about like the reframing, if we say, oh, that interview didn't go well, or I'm not being called back.
Well, there's several ways of looking at rejection, but my favorite way is it's opening the door for another opportunity.
Okay, that's a great reframe.
Yeah. Or what did I learn from that interview?
Okay. So I'd love to open it up for questions with people. If you have a question that we want to get Cinda's um, answer on, put it in the chat and let's start working through some questions. So Judy Nichols asked, can Cinda explain again what an anchor is?
Sure. An anchor is one of the many tools that deal with stress. So, an anchor, when you are in hypnosis, and yes, I do use hypnosis as a hypnotherapist, I'm not a trained therapist. So, as a hypnotherapist, I have to hypnotize my clients every session, because if I didn't, I would be practicing therapy, and I'm not a therapist. So, yes, a portion of the session will be talking so that we can understand what it is you want to change. I try and mostly listen. I don't talk like this at all in my sessions. I try and listen and ask pertinent questions. The client leads me to which questions need to be asked. And then we come up with our affirmations, and then we go into the hypnosis part of the session. And that's usually 20 to 25 minutes, the last 20 to 25 minutes of each session. So the anchor is in the hypnosis session, I anchor that feeling to this physical sense, holding your thumb and forefinger together and breathing in as you say a word that reminds you of a time or place where you felt really good, and then breathe out as you say the emotion. So the example I gave was beach and confident, or it could be, Paris, or, wherever it is. I've had people use their living room couch. It just depends on where you feel really good about yourself.
Okay, that's really good. So Kamal asked, do you use hypnosis as well as affirmations?
Yes. Like I mentioned, in every session, I must hypnotize people. And when they're in hypnosis, I then read their affirmations to them and ask them to repeat them silently in their mind. So they're hearing me say it, and then they're repeating it in their own mind. And then I suggest that each day they pick one affirmation to focus on, and then every night write them, because when you write, you are using another part of your brain, and we're trying to get all the parts of your brain working together. And then I suggest that you read them every morning just to get yourself focused on what your goals are for that day. A lot of times, we hear all these wonderful things that we could be doing, but we don't always remember to do them. I just want to mention real quickly some stress busters that I use with my clients, because we all have stress. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've probably all heard of it, but don't always remember it when you need it. That's focusing on 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Because what busting stress is all about is focusing your mind on something else. While our minds are truly amazing, there's only one thing we can think about at a time. So if you are focusing on your anchor, if you are focusing on 5 things you can see, etc., though you're not focusing on your stress and your anxiety. So that's why these things are so helpful.
I like that. That's a great idea for a stress buster. And you said one critical thing, it's we can only focus on one thing at a time. So the
Correct.
myth of multitasking.
Well, multitasking is just doing a bunch of different things at the same time, one at a time.
Yes.
Because you're not reading and writing and talking. It just doesn't happen. I mean,
Okay.
I say I watch TV and knit at the same time. Well, I'm knitting away and then I notice that I've made a mistake, or I'm knitting away, I notice that I have no idea what's happening on the TV. So, it just doesn't work.
Yes. Okay. So Denise asks, how many affirmations should you concentrate on? For example, should you limit to 3 to keep your focus, or can you have more? What's most effective?
Well, I really like limiting them to 3 to 5, but I have one client who has 20 and she's perfectly happy with 20. So, it really depends upon you. And like I said, you can focus on just one a day if you're feeling overwhelmed by having too many. Like say you had a job interview today, then you could focus on your one about getting a job. If you were spending the day with your family, you could focus on being present for your family.
Okay. And then so there's a question that I really liked. How do you really believe in your affirmations versus just saying them?
Well, you don't have to believe in your affirmations. Affirmations are what you want to come to be in your life. So, I mean, they can be things that are already happening, but I mean, say sleep, for example. Say you're sleeping 4 hours a night and not very well. Your affirmation is, I sleep well for 7 to 8 hours every night. That's not your truth at this moment. That's what you want to have be your truth. So affirmations don't have to be what's happening right now. That's what you
Okay,
want to
so
have be in your
you
life.
don't have to believe it. If I say I'm thin and active,
Yep.
right?
Right.
So if I continue to say that over and over again, I'm thin and active.
Okay. So that's a good example. So let's say that's going to be your affirmation for today. So after we get off the call, I'm going to use you as an example. You go downstairs and you say to yourself, I'm thin and active. So what does a thin person have for breakfast?
Intermittent fasting, nothing.
Okay, a thin person does intermittent fasting. And you're active. So what are you going to do next?
Hop on my exercise bike.
Okay, so was that true yesterday?
Nope.
Okay, so what you are telling yourself is what comes to be. Now, you can say to yourself, this is a bunch of hooey. I'm not going to do that. And you can have a croissant. Okay, but that isn't really helping you.
Right.
So, if you want to change and you want to believe, you can. And change does happen. With my weight management clients, one of the things I like to do is have them pick a goal weight and make that one of their affirmations. Because a problem with weight management can be that you hit your goal weight and your mind goes, what? I weigh 120 pounds. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. So you start going back up. But if for the last 6 months you've been telling yourself, I weigh 120, you're going to go, oh, yeah, there's the scale. I weigh 120, just like I'm supposed to. And you go on with your life. So while it may not be true today, the goal is to have it be true eventually.
Okay, that's good. Now there's another question. What happens when your conscious mind and subconscious mind want different things? In other words, goal and target do you focus on if they're different? I'm
Oh,
not sure how we know if our conscious mind and subconscious mind want different things. How do
well, yes, let's go back to the croissant situation. So,
It's all about croissants today.
yeah, we're really on croissants. So, your subconscious mind wants the croissant. Your conscious mind does not want the croissant. Your conscious mind wants to manage your weight. So they are on different, they do believe different things, but the goal is to make them the same. So that's the power of affirmations, slowly changing from where you were to where you want to be.
So you said slowly changing. How slow is slow? I mean, is it going to be months? Is it going to be days? Is it, is there kind of a rule of thumb for how
Not
we change
really.
our, no?
Not really. If a client comes to me and they are willing to be hypnotized, open to the discussion, open to writing their affirmations, open to saying their affirmations in the morning, and focusing on them during the day, change can be affected right away. Now, will they lose 40 pounds tomorrow? No, but they will start on that path. And once you get started on a path, it's easier to stay on that path.
Okay, that's great. Now, Vicky asked, can you hypnotize all of your clients? What do you do if you cannot hypnotize somebody?
Okay. Well, it's sometimes people don't understand exactly what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is simply being relaxed. Now, can everyone relax? I believe they can because everyone falls asleep at night. And the state we're going for is right before you fall asleep at night. Now, can you necessarily do that in my living room with me talking to you or on a Zoom call with your kids in the next room? Maybe not, but you can get to some kind of a relaxed state. And that's what we're going for. So you're not like out. Although I have had clients fall asleep and that's okay, but most of them really don't want to stop the hypnosis process because it's so relaxing and so calming that it feels, really good.
Okay, so Linda can be asked, can you do a mini hypnosis session with us?
I absolutely can.
Oh, awesome. Let's do it.
Okay, so everyone get in a most comfortable position. I know you're mostly in chairs, but try and get in a comfortable position. And let's see, close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. And with every breath that you exhale, you will have a tendency to feel more at ease, more comfortable, and more peaceful. One more big, deep breath. Now you might begin to become aware of this sense of comfort, security, and safety that will start from your toes and move up, flow into your heels, up to your ankles. As this sensation flows up, your muscles will have a tendency to release and let go of any and all tension. This comfortable sensation flows from your hips, through your stomach, and into your chest. As you breathe in, your stomach muscles release all the tension, and you feel safe and peaceful. With every breath that you take, you will fill up your entire chest area. And as it becomes saturated with this comfortable feeling, you will feel even more at ease. Your breathing becomes deep, gentle, and rhythmic, and a drowsy, sleepy, daydreaming feeling might take over, letting go, drifting down, deeper and deeper. This comfortable sensation moves down over your forehead and over your eyelids like a dark veil of sleep, as your facial muscles and jaw release all the tension. And as I count down from 5 to 0, each count will represent an even calmer sensation, and you will feel your body relaxing even more and letting go deeper and deeper. And when I reach 0, you will go deep asleep. 5, unwinding. 4, letting go. 3, going deeper. 2, releasing even more. 1, deeper still. And at 0, deep sleep. Each and every time I suggest the words deep sleep to you for the purpose of hypnosis with your permission, allow yourself to enter this state quickly, calmly, and deeply. Now, today is going to be an excellent day. You're going to have positive thoughts all day long. You're going to be very productive. You're going to have one of the most wonderful days you've had all week. And I want you to think about all the things that you'll be able to accomplish today. Now, as I count up from 1 to 5, you will awaken to a completely non-suggestible state. You will be in an alert and positive state of mind and body. At 1, beginning to come up. 2, you're aware of the chair beneath you. 3, you're aware of the room around you. 4, you feel refreshed and energized. And at 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake.
Fun.
Now that was a very, very short version.
Yes. But basically that's the process.
Yeah, that's basically the process.
So Kamal asked, can hypnosis change a belief system?
Well, possibly, if that's something that you want to do.
Okay. And okay, so we have a few minutes left. Does anybody have a question? And go ahead and unmute yourself and ask Cinda.
Cinda, how close is visualization with hypnosis, even though it probably wouldn't be, as much in depth, but are there similarities there?
Absolutely, absolutely, because that's really what you're doing with your affirmations. You are visualizing yourself making change and visualizing yourself, doing something different. So yes.
Thank you. And hypnosis would be taking it maybe to a deeper level. Okay.
Yeah. Because when you're in hypnosis, we have access to the subconscious mind, and that's what we want to change. And in visualization, I think you're mostly using the conscious mind.
Thank you.
Okay, who else has a question?
I do. This is Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Christy and Cinda. Can hypnosis be leveraged to heal physically?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a family member who has a chronic illness. Yeah, and so I'm trying to explore different modalities. And maybe this could be one of the modalities.
This could be one used not in, I wouldn't suggest it in instead of medical intervention, but in addition to. I had surgery on both of my shoulders, and it was kind of funny. I visualized that, one at a time, I visualized that there was a healing white light coming into my shoulder and healing it. So whenever I felt pain, that was my reminder to bring in this healing light. So when I went back to my doctor for my post-op visit, he said, okay, raise your arm. I raised my arm. He said, I told you no exercise until I said it was okay. And I said, I wasn't exercising. He said, well, your arm is going way too high for not having exercised. I said, well, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I was, sending healing thoughts and healing light and, stuff to my shoulder to make it heal faster. And he said, oh, that's a bunch of hooey. I don't believe in that. Well, he had just showed me that it had worked, but as a medical professional, he could not wrap his head around it. And I did the same thing with the other shoulder and had the same result. So, I still had to have the surgery to fix it, but I was able to help the surgery heal better. So that's how I would use hypnosis in conjunction with healing something.
Got it. I do have a small follow-up question. I'm going through a kind of a modality of healing for my sister right now. And it was recommended to really focus on that particular modality, not that other modalities are not going to be effective. So my question is, your method or tool, hypnosis, is that interfering, or what do you recommend as far as pairing it with other modalities of healing?
Well, if you were just going to use a healing light, I don't think that would really be very much interference. But it would really be up to your sister if she wanted to wait until she was done with the other treatment.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, Cinda, thank you so much for being with us. And any final thoughts for us?
Well, I do just want to make a little advertisement. I do offer a free consultation. If you have more questions that you'd like answered, go to my website, www.cinda, C-I-N-D-A, Roffman, ROFFMAN.com, and you can schedule a free consultation. And every Wednesday morning, I offer a free hypnotherapy Q&A at 10 a.m. and then a short hypnosis session, a little longer than the one we just did. But I'd be happy for any of you to join me on that. You just need to go to my website and pre-register.
Great. Well, we're going to send out the link with the recording to everyone. And thank you. Will you be back with us again?
I'm happy to if you'd like me.
Good. Awesome. Well, we really
Okay.
appreciated your time. Thank you so much.
Sure,
I'm going to go ahead and
sure.
stop the